Yo. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm geared up, as you can see. Ooh, what is that? Just wanted to add a couple more pounds. Just wanted to add a couple more pounds in a tactical manner. Add a couple tactical pounds. To total around 83 pounds. You know, just a couple pounds, you know what I mean? Nothing major. Nothing major. Sunshine? Is that sunshine? Is that the same sunshine? I ain't seen you in a minute. If it's the same sunshine I'm thinking about. Good morning. Oh, shit. That's what's up, sunshine. How you been? Oh, this gear, sunshine. I got my ruck. I got my ruck with about 75 pounds in there, and about 75 pounds of weight in my ruck, and about another 6 to 8 pounds of other gear, you know what I'm saying, including my water, my vest, you know, a couple of handy tools. Wags dog was good. Wax. Hold on, y'all. I want to hold this. Use my other hand for once. I remember begging my ex to put his pack on me. He refused. After 20 minutes of me claiming I could handle it, he had me to turn around. Okay. Michael Swanson. Michael Swanson. Is that a serious question or is that a trick question? No, Michael, I don't think I'll be getting the jab. I don't think I'll be getting the jab. No, sir. I will not be getting that stuff put into my body at all. No, sir, Rebubsky. No way, no how. He put the gear on me, and I ended up almost falling backwards. He had to catch me and the pack. Yeah. My wife wouldn't even attempt to hold my pack. She knows what's up. Gaming with Stan says the Dems are trying to pass the bill on page 168. It was page 168. If an employee does not get the jab, the company can be fined $700,000. Yeah. No, that's page 168. Shouting at clouds was good. See, I think they slick. And look at the timing. the timing of us finding out about those fines doesn't tell. Well, you can't say anything, you can't give any misinformation about any jab in existence. All right. So it's not just Modelo 19. If you give any misinformation about any jab in existence, you can get banned. All right. You know, I looked at the rules. I was actually going to print them out, you know, and read them to you, but it doesn't really matter. All right. You guys can go and look at the rules yourself. And as a matter of fact, I'll also post them in the description. And by the way, if you didn't see my live stream yesterday where I talked about the new study that showed that a particular pokey, right, I gotta be real careful about how I say it, a particular pokey will land you in a hospital before even, you know what I'm saying, Modelo 19 itself. Like you're more, like for in a certain age group, young men, you're more likely to end up in the hospital for getting the poke than, you know, actually having Modelo 19. You know what I'm saying? Up to 6 times more likely, right? And the rate is low, like 50 people, no, 132 people at most of a million. That's the rate of you getting these adverse effects from the jab. You know, the myocarditis for young men, 132 out of 1 million people will experience that adverse effect. But if you're 6 times less likely to end up in a hospital, I'm talking about no, my bad. Not with adverse effects, but end up in the hospital with adverse effects. So 132 out of 1 million will end up in the hospital with adverse effects to a poke. You know what I'm saying? But if you're 6 times less likely to end up in a hospital with Modelo 19, that means the rate is even lower. So what's the point, right? What's the point if you're more likely to land in the hospital from the jab than Modelo 19? But you can't really, and it's a good thing I established these code words, you know what I'm saying? Because one time they tried to give me a strike for, you know, misinformation, medical misinformation in regards to Modelo 19, but they called it the real word. And I looked at the video, and at no point in that video did I use the C word. So I told them, hey, there's nowhere in this video where I said anything about the C word. And they had to remove the strike because it was true. I didn't say anything about the C word. I said Modelo 19. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing in there that says you can't use other words, because Modelo 19 is not the official word. It's not the official word for that particular ailment. You gotta be real careful, y'all. Gun Owners of America posted an interesting video today. Really? I might check that out. I like Gun Owners of America because they appear to be non-compromised, right? They appear to be no compromise. So if you're no compromise when it comes to the Second Amendment, you're a good person in my book. You're about that life. NRA is hella compromise. Modelo 19, 3J says, Modelo 19 still cracks me up even when with the seriousness of the situation. Thanks for the laughs, Bang. No problem, man. They took my mom out last year trying to push the agenda. They stuck my mom on a ventilator for no reason for 3 weeks. Oh my God. Just so they could claim. I'm sorry to hear that, Sunshine. So your mother's no longer with us. May she rest in power. I'm sorry to hear that, man. They did a lot of people like that. They did a lot of people like that. They stuffed. They stuck a lot of people on those ventilators, and as a result, you know, it's 80% likelihood of death. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that, Sunshine. I wish there was something we could do about that. It's medical malpractice. There was a lot of medical malpractice going on when this shit first started. A lot of medical malpractice. They were putting people on ventilators and putting it on the settings to where they put it on the setting to where you're supposed to put it if the lungs aren't working, but people's lungs were working. They just weren't absorbing the oxygen, right? So the lungs were working, they just weren't absorbing the oxygen. So what it did was it would basically make the lungs explode and collapse. And there was no way to recover from that. And they did this because that was what the guidelines were. They came down. So, you know, it's just a shame that these doctors couldn't use common sense and couldn't just, you know, go with what made sense, you know, go with their instincts, you know. And that's the problem with healthcare these days. It's not about healthcare. It's about, you know, illness care. It's about caring for the illness. They don't want the illness to go away. They want the illness to remain so that Big Pharma can thrive. You know what I'm saying? And it's a sad shame that people have to suffer because of that. She was my grandmom who adopted me, but I called her my mom since she raised me. That's what's up, Sunshine. I'm sorry to hear that. Mike Swan says his wife has been off the ventilator for 2 weeks. I'm glad she survived it, man. I'm glad she survived it. She pulled through. For what I understand, they're actually using the ventilators correctly nowadays. Gaming with Sin says Dr. Clown changed a lot of rules so they can make people pass away. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, that one. Sound the Cloud says that's horrific. They get more money for the body parts if they put people on the ventilator. $42,000 per patient on the ventilator. Yes. The irony is she was extremely knowledgeable of medical procedures because she was the head of nursing for decades. Wow. So they claimed she had CV-19. They claimed she had Mandela 19. Hold on. So they said your G mama had Mandela 19. What? It's in the fruit. Who's saying that? The Hobbit Kai. They're saying Mandela 19's in the fruit. Michael Swan said she was at the top hospital. That helps. He also said people who got 2-shot are not fully hokey pokey, fully GMO. It's going to change with the win. It's going to change with the win. Evil people do rule the world. James Rutherford. A new bird virus is coming out. Of course. That's crazy. Let's see. You told them you would sue. This is what Sunshine is saying. Told them I would sue. Fucking screen. I can't. God damn it. Ugh. I told them I would sue the entire state, and then I knew the truth, and even Dr. himself had no idea why they did that and didn't agree with what they had done. Yeah, you should sue. Fucking punks. Angel Slocum says, I can relate to you. So sorry for your loss. I lost my dad the same way, and no one will tell me different. My own family buys the BS, but not B. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Angel. Fucking Christ. Mike Lowry was good. Did you hear in Norway and Singapore are going back to normal as of yesterday, according to the prime ministers? I did not hear that. Well, good for them, Dave G. So yeah, the new rules, right? If you give any misinformation, which includes, they give examples. If you say that hokey pokeys cause cancer, adverse effects, you're not supposed to mention any of that. They classify that as misinformation, even though there's factual evidence and information that points to those things if you do enough research. How is it misinformation if it's true, right? How is it misinformation if it's true? If there are studies that have been done, if there's an injury court for the stuff that has paid out billions of dollars since its inception, how is it misinformation to mention that those things happen? If a study came out pointing to the link between something and something else that they don't want you to mention, how is that misinformation? It's not misinformation. It's dissenting information. It's information that opposes what the narrative they want to have out there. What's the narrative? The narrative is the stuff is perfect, it's completely effective. You can't even say that you can still get Modelo 19. You can't mention anything about a lack of efficacy, right? You can't say anything about waning efficacy. From what I understand, when we know there's factual evidence that shows waning efficacy, there's actual evidence that shows that you can still get the Modelo 19, even if you're GMO, you can still get it. Modelo 19. You can still get that shit. You can still pass it. You can still end up in a hospital. You can still die. Matter of fact, if you Governor DeSantis did a little thingy, you know, when he was talking about, you know, where he talked to his constituents about opening up monoclonal antibody clinics. And multiple people came up to testify how they got the jab, right? They got poked with a GMO cocktail, I'll say. They got poked with the GMO cocktail and still ended up in the hospital, still ended up very sick. And they got the monoclonal antibodies and felt better 2 days later. So, you know, this whole idea that saying adverse effects, you know, cancer-causing components, fetal line tissue, fetal cell, you can't say any of that. Even though they say it's misinformation, but the shit's in there. How is it misinformation if it's true? How is it misinformation? Because we know that these, you know, they're used for the stem cells and all this shit. That you can grow the cells like permanent, like in perpetuity. Is very readily available. We know why they use those tissues. And we know that they do use those tissues from fetal cell lines and all that shit. But you can't say it. They call that information misinformation, even though it's true. Even though it's true. But here's the thing. And see, this is why you can't talk about the ingredients. It's misinformation if you talk about the ingredients in these GMO cocktails. If you mention ingredients for the GMO cocktail, that's misinformation. How is that misinformation if you get the true list of ingredients and talk about it? How is that misinformation? It's not misinformation. It's dissenting information. It's information that they don't want people to know. But they'll call it misinformation so that they can have a reason to remove your channel. You understand? Darius C. Williams, what's good? Man, I can barely fucking screen, man. Barely see fucking what you guys are writing. Yeah, the guy with the tinfoil hat that kicked off the YouTube was right all this time. Yeah, he was. Damn. Jimmy Nguyen said virus happened in November 2019. Nobody died around November to February 20th until the doctor said something. You know how people die, yeah. Sunshine says, my mom told me the lab owned and created viruses have a cure. They must create an antivirus. Yeah, while creating it in the first place. That's the whole point behind the research, right? The whole point behind the research is to discover how you can fight this stuff. So yes, they do have, they must have some form of antidote or whatever, you know. But it's a good thing I'm not talking about what they don't want us to talk about in regards to misinformation. I'm talking about Modelo 19 and GMO cocktails. Without question, GMO cocktails cause damage and kill people, without question. But to speak that truth in the proper words, if I were to use the proper words to say that, I would get a strike or whatever. So the misinformation campaign YouTube is putting on is not about stopping misinformation. It's about being able to spread misinformation that they want people to have. You know what I'm saying? Censorship is bad. There's no degree of censorship that should be acceptable. But we're dealing with a private organization that can do what they want. And far be it from me for the government to interfere and say that they can't. However, they should not be protected as platforms. If you want to censor people, if you want to have community guidelines that restrict what people can say and basically censor people, that allows you to commit censorship, then you should not be protected as a platform under Section 230. And your ass should be able to get sued along with the content creators that commit libel, defamation, because you're no longer a platform. You're a publisher. You want to operate as a publisher, but be under the rules of a platform. You want to be protected as a platform, but operate as a publisher. That's not how it's supposed to work. But, and this should be made clear, and something should have been done about this, right? Something should have been done about this. You don't go after the company for censorship, but they have to lose those protections. You understand? They have to lose those protections, because if they remove a video that you put up for anything that they don't want to see, they don't want that put out there, then guess what? They have just edited your content. And if they're editing your content, then that is not a platform. A platform is when you say, hey, we've provided this space for you guys to do as you see fit, and we are free of any liability or any criminal investigation or criminal charges. You are responsible for your own content. Post at your peril. You understand? That's how platforms are supposed to work. So this whole argument about, oh, well, it's a private company, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a way around that. There's a way to hold these platforms' feet to the fire. Don't protect their asses. Point blank, period. Okay. Jimmy Nguyen says that word, that sentence I can't say, which is genetic material. The cocktail contains a synthetic piece of mRNA that instructs the cells in the body to have distinctive spike proteins for the blah, 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 pook, pook. Yeah, genetic modification. So you can't talk about how this thing, right, this thing that they want people to be injected with, that thing, and I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the V that, you can't give misinformation about. Of course, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something else in another parallel universe. When Thanos did the snap, right? When Thanos did the snap, A lot of people, they got dusted. You understand what I'm saying? They got dusted. A lot of people got dusted in the snap. So when Hulk did his snap, a lot of people came back. So that's what we're going to call that. We're going to call it the snap. All right. A lot of people came back, but it was jacked up. We have to go so far away from that language in order for me to maintain my channel. So I'm going to call the V word the snap, right? And people who got snapped, they are GMO. The people that didn't get snapped are non-GMO. All right. So that's how we're gonna play this. I'm not even calling it the P word no more. Okay, I'm not even calling it the P word no more. Because right now, we're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right. Right now I'm a Marvel review channel. I'm getting away from conspiracy theories, y'all. No more of those. Right now, I'm just talking about the MCU, all right? Thanos. Thanos is the government. See what I'm saying? Thanos is the government who wants to snap. Except, you know, when Thanos wanted to snap half the people away. Well, the government wants to snap 99.7% of the people, according to Joey B. So, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thanos is the government, and that stuff they want in you is the snap. What's up, baby? My baby want my wifey type is in here. Sonetta, what's up? Would I like to come talk about what? The snap? What's up, wifey? You on your way up here or what? My wife's in the building, y'all. Yeah, we could talk about the snap. Yes, the snapping. AP Reloading, what's up? Sunshine said, funny thing is the art of war was created by those in robes. Some beings that are in the castle and the Vatican are descendants of those who created and enforced the art of war. Yeah, no shit. The shoulder tap, that's a good one too. Except shoulders, to me, is a little too on the nose. Faith is me. What's up, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. It's a cover story. The metals they spray that are in everything will be activated by microwave Wi-Fi. Then when they turn up the frequency and the people drop, the snap will be the cover story. I don't know if the snap will be the cover story. Maybe a variant of the dust that they want snapped. So the V is the dust, all right? The V is the dust. The snap is the stuff that they say prevents the dust, all right? Gonna go tomorrow, okay. I hear you, baby. Faith is me says I'm back from vacation. You went on camping for 10 days? Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, we're going camping possibly in November around Veterans Day. So it's going to be a cooler month, but should be fun. Bro, polite homeboy. Yeah. Sonetta and Polite rocked with each other heavy. We'll have to see what happens with this trial. But
right in the sense of,
real quick, y'all.
once you feel like, oh, that's all I know.
So it was a Christian retreat. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. You went to observe Sukkot. Okay. So You know, I had to talk about this, y'all, because he's my favorite YouTuber. And I'm talking about the amazing dipshit. Or, I mean, my bad, the numbskull Lucas. The amazing dipshit, numbskull Lucas, clown shoe Lucas, the amazing doofus, whatever you want to call it. He did a video yesterday. Of course, he had to come in cape for YouTube and, you know, justify censorship. Okay. So he talks about how the people that are against this rule are on the fringes because they want to say some stuff, you know, and all the other shit. They're on the extreme side where they want to just spout off this, that, and the third. And he said that he guarantees these people are not showing you what's in the community guidelines and the new rules. But that's not true, because a lot of people who are against it are showing the rules. And the rules are ridiculous. Look. There's no such thing as good censorship. There's no such thing as good censorship for anything at all, right? He wants to say bullshit about nuance and you can't say everything you want, this, that, and the third. Well, that's because Lucas is too much of a pussy to speak on this shit, right? He's too much of a pussy to talk about myocarditis because he doesn't want to lose his precious channel, because he has no other skills in life other than to go on YouTube, not be funny, and, you know, play video games and do, you know, disagreement days and not allow people to disagree with him without acting like a little bitch. And that's fine. He can do what he wants, right? It's okay that he has no other skill, you know? Okay, he's a bodybuilder, blah, 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 all this other shit. Okay, so that's another skill he has, right? But, you know, he never really said anything against the narrative, right? When it comes to the dust and when it comes to the snap, right? When it comes to the snap and the dust, he's never said anything against the narrative, all right? A so-called doctor called in one time and started, you know, giving all these talking points in favor, of course, pushing the narrative that the mainstream wants you to push. And he was sold right away. He didn't even have to have any opposing knowledge. So this guy, of course, has no issue with the new rules, right? And of course, anybody that goes against the narrative, in his mind, well, we some podunk country boys on the right. We're the fringe, by God, you know? And so this is perfect for him. He can't wait until people's channels are removed that he's been hating so much for the last 2 years. Lucas, this is his weapon, right? This is what he's been waiting for. He's been waiting for these channels to be removed so that he can get his vengeance, all right? So that he can brag and boast. Because let's face it, the dude's a narcissist, right? He's a narcissist, and everything is, at the end of the day, is about him, right? It's all about him. It's all about how he was treated by Turning Point. It's all about how he was treated by his subscribers when he started talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case and, you know, Botham Jean. And I agree with those takes. I agree that these individuals were murdered unjustly. So, you know, I'm not saying anything about that. What I'm saying is, when it's just about him, this is his way of inadvertently, indirectly getting rid of his rivals, right? Getting rid of possibly the Steven Crowders, the Brandon Tatums, and the ABLs and all that. And one thing he has to understand is it's not going to happen, right? Because they already had these rules for Modelo 19 alone. They already had these rules. And cats like the Hodge twins, Brandon Tatum, ABL, they have been using the proper terms to describe these things and saying and speaking against the narrative, right? And the only reason that they're still around is because they hold up the left-right paradigm lie. And so YouTube, they might slow down their numbers a little bit and all that shit, but they're not going to treat them like they treat people like me, who is steadily pushing to get away from the left-right paradigm lie, to start thinking for yourself, not to think along party lines and all this other shit. It's not gonna happen like that. The Amazing Lucas thinks that, because this new rule, that his enemies are gonna go bye-bye. No, some of them might. Some of them might. You know what I'm saying? But really, you know, if you go on Fox News, if you go to Fox News, if you're a host on, if you're a guest on Fox News, like Brandon Tatum often is, or these other news organizations that are still, you know, held up by YouTube, then you're likely not going to have to worry about it, right? You're not going to have to worry about it. Because I was watching a video that Brandon Tatum just did, where he was talking about the snap and all this other shit, and he was going against the narrative, said all the right words, used the V word, all this other shit. Channel's still up, no strike, video's still up. You know what I'm saying? There is no such thing as good censorship. You want everybody to be able to say anything they want on any platform. You know why? Because that's how you know who you're dealing with. Would you rather have that than to get rid of these people and send them underground, right? Why would you want them to go underground so they're hidden from you? I want to know what everybody's thinking. I want to know what everybody's talking about, right? Not only that, but people, we have the inherent right to say what the fuck we want to say. That's just the bottom line to it. I don't care how harmful it might appear. Everybody has the right to say what they want to say. And if you don't want them to say it on your platform or in your house, that's your right. That's your right. You have the right. If you own a private business or a private home and people are in your house and you don't want them to say certain shit, yeah, you can have them removed. You can remove them from your house. You have that right as well. But why would you want that? Why would you not want to have that discourse? Why are they trying to get rid of discourse in this country? Why are they trying to get rid of discourse? They opened a can of worms when they created the internet and gave it to people and said, here you go, here's the internet. You can't stop the internet now. The internet is doing what it's doing. People are going to find a way to get the information out. But, you know, Lucas, of course, would call for censorship and try to tell you that there's nuance and there's certain things you can't say. No. You should be able to say anything. You should be able to yell fire in a movie theater. You should be able to yell shot in the airport. If people don't have the sense to assess the situation before they just go off and act out of fear, then that's not your problem, right? Like if you yell fire in a movie theater and people aren't looking around, because if there was actually fire in a movie theater, I want y'all to think about this. If there was actual fire in a movie theater, if you don't smell the smoke yet, then you're probably not in danger of that fire just yet, right? You probably have some time to get away from the fire. So if someone yells fire and you don't smell smoke, then take a look around. Assess the situation. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. The problem is not that people are saying harmful shit, right? That might get people to do certain stupid shit. The problem is people weren't raised properly. People were raised in fear, or they were raised to be victims. People aren't being taught to assess, to analyze. They just act when certain shit happens. People aren't being, you know what I'm saying? People aren't being challenged enough. They just go with what's being put out there. They're trusting everything they hear. You know what I'm saying? They believe in everything they see. They're not using their brains. You know what I'm saying? And yes, while we still have that animal instinct, guess what? We're animals of above average intelligence that can put two and two together. You know what I'm saying? So this whole fire in the movie theater shit. First of all, you can't say fire in the movie theater now. According to the Supreme Court, that was a Supreme Court decision some years ago, right? So people who tell you that you can't yell fire in the movie theater, that's not true. That's not true. Now, there are certain things that you can't say, like you can't make threats and shit like that and all that. Even then, if someone's verbally threatening me and they're not physically capable of carrying out those threats, then I don't want that person to be arrested for making threats. They just made a threat, right? Now, if they're my person, if they're in front of me and they're within arm's reach and they make a threat, at that point I can handle it myself. You understand what I'm saying? It's about empowering yourself. That's why we need to end this censorship bullshit and start empowering people. Empowering people not to be so damn sensitive. You know, when words are spoken, you know what I'm saying? All these trigger words and all this other shit. Get that shit out of here. Trigger words, like, we need to do away with that type of bullshit, with that line of thinking. And we need to start empowering ourselves. If someone says something that might trigger you, get the fuck over it. Why are you triggered by it? That's the question. If I say something you're triggered by, the question isn't, why did you say that? The question is, well, why should I have a problem with him saying that? Right? Just like, you know, I've been called the N-word many times in my life, right? By my grandmother, who's white. She called me N-word damn near every day. I've gotten called N-word by many people. And at some point, it's like, okay, you called me the N-word, but what is it doing to me? Like, how is that harming me? I had to sit back and say, it doesn't. It's just words, right? It's just words from a hateful, ignorant person who don't know shit about me. Or they do know shit about me, like my grandma does, but the point is this. I decided that I wasn't going to be affected by mere words. I'm not going to be affected by mere words in that way, right? I'm going to point out the stupidity of using those words, right? Like, even though, for instance, the clown shoe Lucas, he threatened my family, threatened my kids, but I did not call the police on him. I didn't hit up YouTube and say, you know what, YouTube, I want to flag his channel because he made threats to me, right? The clown shoe Lucas made a threat to me, and I could have very well had his channel flagged, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. For what? What is that going to do? The words didn't hurt me, but at the same time, I'm still going to put hands on him if I see him. See what I'm saying? Because the mere fact he threatened my kids. And it's not emotional. It's just something that has to be done. Because people like that feel like they can go around and try to intimidate people because they don't have an answer to what you're saying. So they want to attack you personally. So I'm gonna, if I see him ever in life, because we both live in LA, right? LA is a big place, and it's a huge possibility that I'll never see him. But if I do, I'm putting tips on him. That's just what it is. Because he did threaten my kids, and even though the words didn't hurt me, I'm going to handle him if I see him. And that's empowering, right? But I'm not going to call for somebody else to handle it. I'm not going to call the police on him. I'm not going to have YouTube censor him. I don't want him to be censored. I'm glad he said that. So now that I know, when I see him, I know he's a threat. So I can deal with that threat accordingly. And that's how I handle that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel that's the best way to handle any situation where people are saying something you don't want to hear. If someone's saying something you don't want to hear or you feel is misinformation, hit them with the real information, right? Hit them with that real, have a discussion. If you think somebody's putting out nonsense, hit them with that real shit. It's all good, Sunshine. Don't apologize. Sunshine says pay close attention to channels that have large number of followers and money pouring in, but those same channels divert from real media and focus on bubblegum beef or just negative bullshit. Yeah, that's real facts. China Kyle says, when I hear government news speak like assault weapon, it kind of set me off. And that's okay. Look, it's okay. But you want them to talk about it. You want them to know what they're going for. If the government is talking about going after assault weapons, you want to know what their plan is so that you can act accordingly. You have the right to protect yourself, property, and family by any means necessary. Real shit. Jay Stacks, should you get the snap? That's up to you, man. I'm not gonna tell anybody if they should or shouldn't get snapped. Talk to your doctor about it. Have informed consent. What I will say, I'll advise you to do some research. Research it. See if it's the best thing for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in it at all. I don't believe there's any legitimacy to it, to the snap. But, you know, some people want to be GMO, some people don't. But yeah, if you want to get snapped, that's up to you. You got to talk to your doctor. Just don't, I wouldn't advise going to the mall or to a barber shop. I would advise you go to a doctor, talk to him about it. See if you're, because I'm allergic to glycol, so I can't get snapped anyway. But, you know, there are people, you might be allergic to glycol, so you might want to check with your doctor. Talk to him about it. I can't advise you on whether or not you should get snapped. You understand? And not because YouTube wouldn't like it. It's just because that's how it should be. Sunshine says people don't know is by law. Family is the head of household property. Yeah. I agree, Jay Stacks. I feel natural immune is the strongest. And building your natural immune system. Like, bolster it. Put things in, you know, eat properly. And if you're not getting all the nutrients you need, supplement with stuff. But I would advise you to talk to your doctor about all that. The thing is, my wife is a teacher and had to get it, or she loses her job. I don't got it. Yeah. So look, man, there's a lot of people in those positions. And like I said, there's a solution. There's a solution to You know, if your job is being threatened because you don't want to get snapped, if you don't want to get the snap, then there are solutions to that. That's when you start looking to community. That's when you start looking to community. And right now is the perfect time, before it's too late, to start trying to build a community of like-minded people. You know, like I said, like I've been saying, get some land for cheap and build your own communities where you have your own doctors, your own nurses, your own builders, electricians, carpenters, plumbers, you know what I'm saying? Teachers, you know, so that the children within the community can be taught and everybody can prosper. Like, that's the solution to that. You understand? I mean, that's one solution. Another solution is, you know, you get the snap and, you know, hopefully you'll be all right. Like my mother, she got her booster snap. So far, she hasn't had any adverse effects. So, you know, but God knows what's going to happen years from now, months from now. We have no idea. So, and you know, flu season's coming up. So that's another thing coming. Can't really talk about, you can't even talk about that in a negative light. You can't talk about that snap in a negative light. You can't say anything about that. It's just crazy. Yeah, it's still a choice, exactly. Yes, Sunshine. The Kool-Aid does have the snap. The Kool-Aid, the Pokey, has compounds in it that can, I mean, they just, listen, you know, cause those things. Yep. But that's misinformation, even though it's true. I don't understand how truth can be misinformation and people will buy that shit. Like, but again, this is their publishing house. This is YouTube's publishing. YouTube publishing. It's not a platform, y'all. Understand that. Understand that YouTube is not a platform any longer. It is a publishing network. It's a network. It's a network. That's what it is. You know, it's a broadcasting network where they have editors and people go in and, you know, they edit your shit by removing shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're curating content. Platforms don't curate content. You understand? Platforms do not curate content. Bottom line. Platforms just let you, it's a platform. You just set shit right there. You just provide a space for people to give content. And the content creators, they edit their own shit. Their channel can be a broadcasting network, right? Now your own channel can be a broadcasting network that you're 100% responsible for. You're just using YouTube as an avenue to show your shit. But they have thoroughly turned themselves into a broadcasting network. Understand that. Sunshine says the magnetic resonance of the snap, and the snap is from actual compound itself. The components are causing the body to treat it like foreign bodies. Yeah, you know what's funny, Sunshine? You can't even talk about chips. They got all the bases covered. They got all. You can't even say that you suspect. So how is that let me tell y'all something. Even if it is misinformation, if you can't even suspect, you're not asserting that it is. You're just saying, I believe, I have reason to believe. You can't even do that. You can't even say that you have a belief of something, that you suspect something going on. You can't even do that. And that's what's wild to me. I need some sun in my face, man. The best way to get sunny delight, or vitamin D, is through the eyes. So, remove that bill so I can get my good dose of vitamin D. Okay, science is my minor, and I really been studying and watching how this works my entire life. The fact that chemical corporations created and dispersed this snap is proof. Fucking phone call. Anyway. You can't mention anything about chips in regards to the snap. It's crazy. You can't talk about that. Otherwise, that goes against guidelines. Now I got a stupid phone call come in. Every time I go live, I get hit with these spam calls. Like back-to-back spam calls. Sun chips have lots of snap. You talking about shouting out clouds? Jimmy Nguyen, am I an atheist? Well, I'm a spiritualist. Let's just say that. Like, I believe that there are questions that we don't have the answers to, and questions we didn't have the answer to back in the day that we now have answers to, and questions we still don't have answers to that we attribute phenomenons to special beings. I just believe, I believe that there's something out there, that there is a creator. Something created this universe, something created this world, something did. Is it a conscious being? I have no idea. I don't know. So I can't really speak on that. You got Cinco G? Cinco G has some exact facts on, yeah, especially at 60 gigahertz. At 60 gigahertz, yeah, 60 gigahertz, 5H does a lot of weird things. It's used, millimeter wave technology has been used as a military weapon since at least the 70s. There was an extensive report done on the effects of millimeter wave technology by the CIA. I can actually post a link to that in the description, courtesy of the Fullerton Informer. If y'all know who the Fullerton Informer is, he has the report on millimeter wave technology on one of his websites. So I've downloaded it, and I can put that in the description if y'all want access to that. Check out Fullerton Informer. He's on point. He hasn't been really active very much, but they censor the shit out of his channel, because he speaks the truth. Like, he don't use cold words, none of that shit. He just says what it is. Sunshine says, Cinco hay radiation, immune system breakdown, lung weakness and failure, white blood cells breakdown, flu-like symptoms, brain damage, all organ failure, rashes. Yep, it's after a certain amount of exposure. Yeah, and this report was done on the millimeter wave technology. It was done at minimal exposure, right? So what it does is, at 60 gigahertz, it interacts with the oxygen molecules in a certain way. So the absorption spectrum of oxygen, right, is 50 gigahertz. So the oxygen molecules, the atoms and all that shit spin at 60 gigahertz, and that's what makes it readily absorbable by the hemoglobin in your blood. Well, when 5G comes into contact with that at 60 gigahertz, it distorts, right? It reaches resonance with the oxygen molecule and distorts it, so that way the hemoglobin doesn't absorb it properly. So that's what it's doing. And what does that cause? If your body's not absorbing oxygen, then your lungs aren't, you're not getting oxygen in your blood. Fucking all kind of shit can happen, right? Cytokine storm, pneumonia after a certain amount of time of exposure. So that's true. But you can't really talk about it openly on this platform either. Well, my bad. On this network, right? On this broadcasting network known as YouTube. You can't really speak on that either. They'll fucking shut you down. Yeah, Jonah Briano was the man. He's in Cali too. I need to link up with him. Real shit, because he has a lot of knowledge on a lot of shit. Also, who here's going to Elon Musk's Neuralink? I'm not doing no motherfucking links to nobody's shit. You know what's funny? Y'all really need to go read my book, The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. Because there's a character in there, right? There's a character in my book who's something like a super soldier. Right, this character is something like a super soldier, but this character has a neural link in her. Like, this character has a neural link. You know what I'm saying? And it allows her to do a lot of different shit. Right? It allows her to do a lot of different shit, and it allows her handlers and her creators to keep tabs on her, right? So her neural link basically augments her psychic abilities, right? It enhances her psychic abilities, but at the same time, it doesn't enhance them. It kind of like funnels them, or it focuses them, because, and then it allows the handler of this character to kind of like blunt or nerf her powers. You know what I'm saying? So that in case she attacks somebody or something, she attacks somebody that she's not supposed to attack, her abilities can be nerfed or neutralized. It's interesting. Y'all should go read that. It's called The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. It's on Amazon right now. It has great reviews. Go read the reviews. You can get the book. You can get a hard copy. You can get a digital copy. Digital copy is cheap. What's up, Mars 77?
Like the second week, I mean, they were so
Mike Lauer, you said you like a copy of my book? Yeah, go to Amazon. If one of my mods can post it, it's on Amazon. It's called The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. Yeah. Go ahead and cop that. You can get You can get the Kindle copy, which I think is like $4, and the actual hard copy is like I want to say $15 right now. You know what I'm saying? Hell, if y'all interested, I'll even send you guys autographed copies of the book. You know what I'm saying? If y'all are interested in something like that. Mike Lowry, why are you asking Sunshine? Why are you asking Sunshine if she's an agent? Sunshine said met a man and his wife at the bank, and he showed his arm. It was completely bubbled, and he had signs of radiation. He was a tower installer. Yeah, that's what happens. Yep. You're exposed to all kind of nasty shit. Let's see. Chelsea G says, Sunshine, my G-Mom's arm is starting to rot in her snapped arm. Are you kidding me, Chelsea? You seriously? That's crazy. Listen, man. You know what? Let me tell you the only thing that's important to know. And shout out to Joe and Briano for this one. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, he's absolutely right? Only thing you need to know about any snap, for anything, for any ailment, the only thing you need to know about any snap is that it has not been tested for impairment of fertility, carcinogenic potential, and mutagenic potential. It has not been tested for none of that shit. That's all you need to know about it. And guess what? There's no rule. There is no rule about that on the YouTube guidelines in regards to vaccines. And yes, I said the actual vaccine word, because there's no rule for it. They have not been tested for carcinogenic potential, mutagenic potential, and impairment of fertility. That's all I need to know, right? That's all I need to know for me to not want to fuck with it. That's why I'm not dealing with that. Because of that alone. That's all I need to know. All the times, the length of time that a lot of these snaps have been out here and they haven't been tested for that shit, do you honestly believe that? I don't. So that's why I don't fuck with them. And at the end of the day, I don't need to tell you why I don't want to get snapped. That's my personal choice. I don't have to give you a reason. I don't have to give you a good reason. I don't have to give you a bad reason. I don't have to give you a reason at all. That's my personal choice. Point blank and period. Like, you don't have to explain that to anybody. If you don't want to get snapped, you don't want to get snapped. And that's it, and that's all. I don't understand what people don't understand about that. You know what I'm saying? And they try to make it like you're a danger to others for not getting snapped. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Because if the snap worked like it should, then it shouldn't matter if you're snapped. It shouldn't matter if I'm snapped. It shouldn't matter. Because guess what else YouTube is calling misinformation? if the snap is effective, right? If it's misinformation to say that the snap isn't effective and that the snap, that you can still contract and transmit the dust even after you've been snapped. If that's misinformation, then how is it that I'm a danger as a non-GMO individual to GMO individuals? If that's misinformation, then there should be no mandates, right? You're telling people it's wrong to say that you can still contract and transmit the dust even if you get snapped. It's wrong to say that. That's misinformation. Well then, so is, you know what else is misinformation if that's the case? The GMO people need to be protected from the non-GMO people. That's also misinformation then. That statement holds no merit. So which one is it, YouTube? Thank you for pointing out that glaringly obvious fact. Thank you. It's misinformation to say that it's not effective. It's misinformation to say that you can still contract and transmit it. So, why should I get snapped then? Right? You should not have to worry about me. Even if I end up in the hospital, which I won't.
Look like you're ready to go to war.
Oh yeah. Even if I end up in the hospital with what they call that dust bullshit, which I won't, I'm still gonna talk the same shit. Oh, there's no sound? Trust G, you said you begged your Gma not to get it. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hey, Tyrant, I was witness to a fake protest. You went home? Yeah, straight up BS. And if this wasn't enough, we got that infrastructure bill, and I'm talking about the $3.5 million or $1 trillion infrastructure bill. They were able to sneak something in there in regards to forcing employees or employers to mandate the SNAP and getting fined up to $700,000 if you have over 100 employees and you don't make the mandate. If this stuff was as great as Sanjay Gupta and Fraudstey and Biden and all these people said it was, why do you have to go through all these links? People would understand and know how effective it is by its own merit, and they'll make that decision on their own. If it was the best thing since sliced bread, then Joe Biden would need to say that the VEAD need to be protected by the unvied. That wouldn't even be a necessary statement. You know? How are people supposed to have faith in it if you say some shit like that? It completely contradicts, you know, it's contradictory to what you say this thing does and what it's supposed to do. Since I say, yeah, I drove nearly 2,000 miles to get home. Everybody kept warning me about protesters. There were none, not one protester, but I did see a fake setup. And it's bullshit all over the place. Bullshit all over the place, y'all. It's hard to sift through the bullshit, but, you know, you gotta find a way to navigate it. You know, you gotta find a way to navigate the bullshit and keep trucking. No one is going to save you. YouTube acts like they want to censor people to protect other people. That couldn't be further from the truth. You have to empower yourself with knowledge and act accordingly. You have to do your own research. Don't just believe what the media tells you. Don't even believe what these experts out there tell you. Not without seeking out multiple types of experts or different experts that have different views. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to research. They want you to get all your information from them. And anybody that opposes that, be damned. They want you to wallow in fear. They want you to be a victim. And that's what these new rules do. They create more victims. All right? They create more victims of people who want to believe the narrative and got snapped and mad that they got snapped and you're not getting snapped. They want you to be snapped too. So YouTube wants to create more victims of more snapped people. Give them a weapon to use against people like me who say, fuck that. I'm not going to get snapped. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to ruck. I'm going to eat right. You know what I mean? I'm going to take certain things to boost my immune system. And that's all it is to it. That's all it is to it. You know? They don't want you to be empowered. The government doesn't want you to be empowered. The government doesn't want you to be empowered. Hell, the clown shoe Lucas doesn't want you to be empowered. He wants you to be a victim too. He wants you to go watch his channel. He wants you to go watch and play video games. And he wants people like me removed from YouTube so that more people can funnel to him. Right? That's what he wants. People like him want to talk down on the police, but agree with mandates. You say fuck the police, fuck 12, but at the same time, you want them to enforce mandates. You want them to enforce unlawful edicts. It's people like him, they don't want you to be empowered. They don't want you to be empowered. If you go against what they believe, they want you out of here. They don't want you playing in the sandbox with them. They want the sandbox all to themselves. They want the sandbox all to themselves so they can have their little circle jerk. Lucas wants a YouTube circle jerk with people like him. You know what I mean? Or people that'll kiss his ass. Brandon Tatum, ABL. Them too. They're all statists. They don't want you to be empowered. These are the same guys hollering about freedom and about your liberties being taken away. Who protect the police at every turn. I don't understand how you can operate along those lines with a straight face. How is it possible that you call yourself being a freedom lover, or you want your liberties, or you don't want censorship, when you want law enforcers to be protected, empowered, and lifted up at all costs? Pay attention to these people and what they say, because their words don't match their actions. Sage the World says point blank, it's that simply: eat right, exercise, take things to boost your immune system. But you know, they'll think you're stupid for that, because only modern Western medicine can save you, right? There's only one thing. And this is not how it works in science. In real science, there's not one thing that can solve a problem, right? There are multiple things that can solve a problem, especially in medicine. There's not just one form of treatment for everything. And you know, some things you can't really treat. But treatments that you can treat, especially for diseases that are like, you know, the dust, that has such a high survivability rate. If there's such a high survivability, fucking phone call. Like, I'm getting tired of that shit. I need a do not disturb on my shit when I do my lives. You know what I mean? But anyway, fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there's not just one treatment, right, in medicine, especially with something like this that has like a over 99% survival rate. Like, I don't understand how people could believe that the only way to go is to get snapped when there are other proven treatments out there. You know what I'm saying? You know what's misinformation? The ivermectin bullshit. That's misinformation. People running around talking about, oh, it's just horse paste, it's horse dewormer, you know what I mean? But that's not all it is. You know, you got CC talking about, you're not a horse, stop taking ivermectin. But, you know, ivermectin is also for human use. So I don't understand how those people aren't being flagged for putting out misinformation. You know what I'm saying? It's not about misinformation, it's about the information that they want. Even if it's misinformation that they want to spew, it's still misinformation. It's just that they want it spewed. So that's okay. It's say that ivermectin is for horses. AP reloading. Yeah, dogs take it too. Like, yeah, dogs, humans, horses, cows, cats, squirrels, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want. The bottom line is there are human dosages right? Joe Rogan was given a form of ivermectin for humans, not for fucking horses. You know what I'm saying? So when they said he took horse dewormer, that was misinformation. But YouTube isn't taking it down. YouTube is not taking that shit down. So as far as censorship goes, fuck nuance, right? Like that bullshit the clown shoe Lucas talking about, nuance. Fuck your nuance and fuck you, fuck censorship. 100%, all the way down the board. You don't want censorship because you want to see what people think. You want the discourse. You want to know where the challenges are, right? Anybody calling for censorship, but at the same time talking about freedom, this, freedom, that, they're not for that. Chelsea says, why not talk about treatment, not face diapers? Because it's just a muzzle. It's just a way to show that you submit. They want to see that you are submitting. That's what the muzzle is about. That's what the face flag is about. The face flag is about submitting. Okay, I submit to your narrative. I submit to your rule. You said I need a face flag. You said I'll get fined if I don't get a face flag when I'm out the house. Okay, I'll do it. I'll put the face flag on. It's just a way to submit. It's a tool of submission. Them damn things don't work. They don't fucking work. And they know that. But they'll tell you to wear 2 or 3 of them so that you can't get rid of the waste known as CO2 as readily, and the bacteria and all the things that you expel from your body. When you exhale, it's being trapped by that. Not all of it, but a lot of it is being trapped by that mask. Some of it's getting out. You know, more so if you have a exhalation valve on your mask. If you have exhalation valves on your masks, then you know you have a good chance of getting rid of the shit. But they want you to wear these cloth masks that don't stop shit, but it traps bacteria inside the mask. It traps CO2, and you're breathing back in CO2. Your body needs to get rid of the CO2. Why are you wearing a mask for longer? You're not supposed to wear those masks for more than 15 minutes at a time. I know this because I had to wear them. In construction, I have to wear them because of concrete dust, the silica dust. So if you're drilling into concrete, you definitely want to wear a respirator of some sort, you know, or even a dust mask. But even then, you're not supposed to wear it for 15 minutes at a time. You're supposed to take a break. So, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, because you have to get your oxygen levels back up. You got to get your oxygen levels back up to maximal capacity. But, you know, I got my bike with me today. I rode my bike yesterday, but I never took it off the back of my truck. Gravitational time vortex was good. How you doing? Yeah, 902 Reverend. Yeah, Joe Rogan did threaten to sue CNN, and I hope he does. Gravitational time vortex says the longer we have more than 60% non-GMO, the easier it is to see the effects of the GMO. That's what control groups are for in real research. Real shit. That's good. That's a good point, Gravitational. Right now we're at 57. So they say. If you go to CNN, they'll show that it's 57% are fully vaccinated. Let me tell you something. That's not a lot. If people, if this shit was as great as they make it out to be, it'll be a lot more than 57% fully snapped. Marcy C was good. Any bug or virus is at least 200 times smaller than the mask. Than the holes in the mask. Yes. Hell, the virus, any virus is 200 times or more smaller than bacteria. And bacteria can make it through that mask. You know how you know? If you can smell somebody's bad breath, right? Somebody got funky breath and they're wearing a face flag and you can smell their bad breath, then the bacteria got through. And if the bacteria got through, guess what else could get through? Gravitational time vortex says infertility will show up within a year. You know, half heart and lung conditions will show up around 4 years. We'll see. They have less than a year to achieve their goal of 100%. Otherwise, the difference in two groups is painfully evident. We'll see, man. Nguyen says, Jimmy Nguyen says, Matt, face flash caused blood clots. Really? Watching from Pine Gap Joint Defense Space Research Facility. Oh, yeah? Huh. That's if you working for them, if you working there, you real bold coming up in here, writing what you writing. Jimmy Nguyen says, due to lack of good bacteria in your body, lack of oxygen. Yeah, yep. Lack of oxygen, you know, acidates your blood or whatever. Acid, you know, I forgot what they call that shit. Hypoxia or whatever. The hypoxia can definitely do that. Marcy is like putting on chain link fence, yeah, and throwing sand through that bitch. AP Reloading says face flag people are like children who carry around their blanket all the time. It's a false sense of security. If anything scary happens, they can hide under their blanket. Yeah, real shit. Yes, you have to expel the CO2 as all of it. You don't want shit in your front of your fucking face trapping it, and then you end up breathing it back in. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna finish up here. I got some I'm gonna hit a couple drills. I'm gonna call it a day. After When They Lit Live is over, I'll provide you with why the face flag is killing people. Yeah, do that. Do that, Jimmy. Always love information. Anybody want to send me information, man, y'all can do it. snapzillagorilla@gmail.com. Yes, Sunshine. snapzillagorilla@gmail.com. If any of my mods, can you guys post my email address? That'd be greatly appreciated. snapzillagorilla@gmail.com. No, it's Snapzilla Gorilla with a GUE. GUERRILLA @gmail.com. I wish I could write it in here. Snapzilla Gorilla. SNAPZILLA GUERRILLA @gmail.com. Snapzilla Gorilla. Yep, that's it. Hearing and hearing by. Except Marcy T, there's no I after the 2 L's in Snapzilla. That's spelled Snapzilla. Yep, Snapzilla Gorilla. Exactly, Jimmy Nguyen. So if you guys want to contact me, y'all can do that at snapzillagorilla@gmail.com. You know, I always love information. You know, I love passing you guys information, so I'm always down for that. It's all good, Marcy T. So anyway, like, share, subscribe. Much love to you guys. Thank you guys for coming through and listening to me rant, per usual. It's all good, Marcy T. You know, because all I can really do is rant right now. I don't really have I mean, I got the computer and all that shit, but it's hard to sit down and, you know, do all that shit. You know, people be on their screens, sharing the screens and showing you shit. It's not really, I can rarely do that, especially with all my kids running around the house. Much love to you, Marcy T. So, much love, peace out. And you guys go out there, stay fit. Let's keep marching forward toward freedom. And don't let these people take your power and create victims out of you. All right? Empower yourself and get your life together. Peace out.